Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Inside Lowell Daily Pulse, the Thursday, August 28th edition of the Daily Pulse, a special edition of the Daily Pulse, where we're going to be having a candidates debate, a candidates forum, featuring the two of the three candidates, I should say, who are vying in the city's preliminary election, September 9th, to represent District 7, the Acre district. We'll tell you a little bit more about them. We're going to introduce you to them as they're here waiting dutifully in the studios. First, let me thank my Daily Pulse sponsors, Ray Booten, licensed realtor in Massachusetts and New Hampshire, certified appraiser in both states as well. Find them online, realestaterayBooten.com. Thank you as well to WellPoint for hosting us here in the WellPoint studios. At WellPoint, your whole health is their whole point. Thank you to them for helping to make today's Candidates Forum possible, and thank you to the candidates for joining us here in the WellPoint studios on this Thursday morning. As we mentioned, two of the three candidates vying for the District 7 seat. To the left of your viewing device, Jose Cervantes. Good morning, Jose.
How you doing, sir?
Doing fantastic. To the right of your viewing device, Sidney Liang. Now, I do want to take a moment to explain to everybody why the incumbent in the race, Paul Ratayem, is not here. He originally had agreed to join us for this debate. We set that date weeks ago before the city of Lowell decided to send a delegation, or had to send a delegation, to Geneva, Switzerland for the Frontrunner City initiative. Councillor Yem was part of that delegation, reached out to me, said he will not be able to make the debate. Asked him if he would like me to try to reschedule for a different date that might work for him, with the understanding that if we couldn't agree on a date that was agreeable to all three candidates, that we would stay with the current date, which is today, August 28th. Councillor Yem politely declined and said, just don't worry about it and go ahead and do it. And that is why we have the two candidates here, but that gives the two of you more opportunities to speak as well. So I'm sure you will appreciate that. The format is similar to the format that I followed in my 15 years of doing radio and my 3 years here at Inside Lowell. Each candidate will be allowed a 1-minute opening statement and a 1-minute closing statement. You'll have the opportunity to address each of the questions, and then any candidate specifically mentioned in a response will have an opportunity to rebut that specific reference if you so choose. We'll hopefully keep the responses to about a minute, 60 seconds to a minute and a half, 90 seconds, but I'm not going to keep a stopwatch on you. I may get a little fidgety if you start to go over a minute and a half, but we'll keep this moving along. The candidates are seated alphabetically, and that's how the order has been determined. And then Jose Cervantes will make the first opening statement, followed by Sidney Liang. Sidney will make the closing statement first, followed by Jose Cervantes. So with that, are you gentlemen ready?
Let's go.
Let's go.
All right. Opening statement to you, Jose Cervantes.
Yes, sir. How's everybody doing? My name's Jose Cervantes. If you haven't had a chance to meet me and have a conversation with me, hopefully soon you will. I'm running for District 7, like Teddy stated. One word comes to mind: leadership. We need leadership in a district like ours right now. We have a lot of things, good things coming over there. And we also need to be able to have strong leadership to protect the integrity of the people and the history in the Acre. You know, leadership, what does that mean? You know, you guys got the opportunity a few elections back to choose who's going to be your representative in your districts. 90% of the people didn't vote in 2023. We need to change the culture when it comes to voting and electing our officials. It is not the Belvedere show anymore. You have an opportunity to go out and have your voices heard. Let's start doing that. I don't care who you go vote for. I'm ready. I'm ready to do the job tomorrow. Most people that know me, they know that's facts. But just get out there and vote. Over to you, Sidney.
Thank you, Mr. Cervantes. Mr. Lang.
Thank you, Teddy. Thank you, Jose, and thank you to our audience out there. Thank you for the opportunity to talk to everybody a little bit. For some who known me throughout the years, and also for those who hasn't known me, my name is Sydney Liang. I'm a former Cambodian refugees who, like many other ones, that came here through many, tragic happening throughout the life, and I have the experience. I experienced with what to go without food, shelter, money, and support. And with all that, I will bring to the council. I will bring to be, one of the leader that the community, could be trusted. I would be the arms, the leg, and the voice for all the people. But I will also need your help as well. One thing that I aim to do is to basically use that experience and to represent and advocate for District 7, especially for the American dreams, to basically democracy, freedom of speech, and the pursuit of our own dreams, especially for our children that's coming up right now.
Okay. Thank you to both of you. First question will go to you, Mr. Liang. And I apologize in advance. This might be a little bit wordy, a little bit lengthy, but I do need to explain it. I promise the rest of them will go much more quickly. So the current administration and the two most recent city councils have approved tax increases totaling 11.5% over the last 3 years. 5.5% in 2023, 3.5% in 2024, and 2.5% in the most recent budget for the year going forward. Did you or do you currently support these increases? If so, why? If not, why not? Keeping in mind that a 1% reduction in the tax rate means $1.8 million in the budget. So every time you raise taxes 1%, it's $1.8 million. If you're going to cut, if you want to lower those rates, you have to cut $1.8 million. So please cite a specific area or areas of the budget where you would seek to save taxpayers that money if you support lower tax rates. Mr. Liang.
So I do really support low tax rate. I'm just talking on behalf of the District 7, our Acre neighborhood, because if in comparison to other neighborhood, the average household income for District 7 is around $40,000 to $45,000 annually, and the average neighborhoods out there between $80,000 and $90,000. So my job is mainly to take care of the district where I live, and so therefore there's a lot of complaint about this. The taxes are too high, and you also know that these are equal to maybe 30% of the city revenue. So therefore, there has to be something give and something take. I mean, of course, we can't project the future, but I wanted to make sure that balance the budget, meaning it's not going to be any more increase. Maybe looking at some of the position that's being hired right now or being posted, just because what happened when, let's say, the ARPA money is gone? What happened when the taxes, get lower? $1.8 million, maybe, something that we can look at. But at the same time, maybe place that I look at with basically the parking department, and some other places that I might look at. But I can't guarantee, I cannot pinpoint which one, but I will have to look at the budget clearly, and I have the experience to do that.
Okay, and just to clarify, do you say you support lower taxes or you support the current tax?
Well,
or the last
you can't go back, right? I mean, you
right.
can't. I want to make sure we're not raising any more taxes, on our residents, especially at right now, everything is skyrocket high.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Cervantes.
There's certain topics that there's so many moving pieces. When they passed the budget, I was there at the meeting, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm more than certain the manager stated that pretty much we already have a 1.7% increase coming down the pipeline, no matter what, on taxes. That's gonna happen no matter what we do, because we got to start paying off our debt. I mean, we cut $4 million from the budget for the school system. What was the big talking point? Administration. How many people do you have administration? Why do you have to cut paraprofessors what are we doing at City Hall for administration? How many jobs were added with some of that ARPA money? We just added a position I think last Tuesday, last meeting, $70 an hour. A trainer for the trainers. We can't expect the residents to budget their $40,000, especially, at least in the part of the district where I live. It's mainly rental property. That doesn't affect you directly. It does when your rent goes up at the end of the year, but you don't see that direct impact. So, but you're not voting. We can go down that line again. We said 60 to 90 seconds. But we need to we can't expect other people to cut waste when we're adding waste. And that's one thing that we need to start being able to do. We need to call it out. Do we really need that $70 an hour position? How many of those do we have in the budget right now? And how many of them we can get rid of? Because my park just recently started getting taken care of. We need to do better. So, no, I mean, we take what we can to answer your question. We take what we can, but I don't see a reason to keep adding to the burden that we're already facing.
All right. Thank you so much. Next question, and we'll start with you, Mr. Cervantes. What is one area where you feel this current city council and this administration have been lacking in terms of providing services to your district? Most importantly, what step will you take, if elected, to improve that situation as you see it? Mr. Cervantes.
I wouldn't be able to pinpoint just one thing, because in the district, parts of it, you can see the difference. I just finally, for the first time in 15 years, we just had our roads tended to. We just had that park right next to my house in back of the Greek Bakery. Now, I'm so happy. Third week in a row where they mow the grass, but maybe I'm naive, maybe I'm wrong, but 535 people, we don't matter. I'm sorry, we don't. Because there's no fear there. There's no threat. There's no, if you don't do your job, we're going to get rid of you. So I think the community needs to become more together. Everybody, I want to see how much money, and I think Councilor Scott put this forth, how much money, that money, the ARPA money, the budget money, is being dispersed to what communities? Show us. Let's go. Let's see the papers. Because I can guarantee you, just like with our voter turnout, we're last on that list. There's so many things. Stop shoving all this market rate housing down our throats, and let's do something to get people off of this subsidized housing hamster wheel. Like, there's so many issues. And I'm not deflecting, but we only have 60 to 90 seconds. Give me 60 to 90 minutes and we'll find an answer, but it starts with us. Get more involved. Make them hear you by voting and by being more in tune on what's happening at City Hall.
All right, Mr. Liang.
I do agree, and there's no way of pinpoint, an issues. There's so many issues that's in the Acre area or District 7. I guess that's why we are running against the incumbent. Unfortunately, we don't have the record to show. We have ideas that will, bring forth some changes. Last night we were at this candidating, and one of the issues that's brought up, which, if I'm a city council, I would put this motion forward to basically the school, Mugland School. I was told that it wasn't safe for kids to walk around. There's drug around, there's homelessness that around the school, and the school has no fence. So I would choose that one as my first motion to look at in terms of what are some of the safety concerns in regarding to the Mugland School. What are something that we can do, whether it's a safety officer, whether it is to build a barrier or something like that. I don't know idea. I have no idea. But I would choose that and ask the city manager to look into it to see, is the kid really not safe in that school, or are we okay with it?
Okay. Thank you. Next question, and we'll start with you, Mr. Liang. A lot of debate across the city, been mentioned already, actually going on across the entire state about the creation of housing. Do you support additional housing in your district? And if so, what specific types of housing projects, housing development would you like to see in your district? I
bet he's agree with me. You see, we are so congested. How many more housing can you put inside the Acre community? We want to see more green space for our children. We want to make sure that the housing that being built, being affordable, so that I don't want anyone to use the word affordable, that the family in there can live and also improve their lifestyle. But I want to make sure that we are not so congested. We want the balance among the city and among the neighborhood and the district of the city of Lowell. And we can't be just putting more housing in the Acre area, and so that we eliminate green space, we eliminate, trees and other things. That's really vital to the health and, wealth of the community. And I want the community to come out and say that, over 500 people come out to vote, they're not going to make it. They're going to put more housing there. But that's not, I certainly do not want to see more housing in there unless there's some changes that's happening at the district level.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Cervantes.
So I've been asking a question recently. Do we have a housing crisis or do we have a rent crisis? Because I'd like to, maybe one of the sitting city councilors that hears this interview can get to me, get me this information before hopefully in November I get elected. How many of so we, you know this, we have anything that's coming up, it's been kind of the platform, 25% mark, affordable housing, and the rest market rate. That's kind of like the model we've been following. How much of that market rate is actually being filled by Lowell residents? So do we have a housing crisis because the talking point, we're trying to get people with disposable income? Or do we have a rent crisis where we are at a 32% poverty rating, according to the CBA in the Acre, where, like Sydney pointed out, it's actually, last time I checked, it's a little less than $40,000, the median income in my district. And now you're shoving a bunch of $2,100 one-bedroom apartments down our throats. They will not build in Belvedere. They will not build in the Highlands. Back Central would probably be the only other place. And where the heck are you going to build there? Unless you pull a calorie and try to RFP the little bit of green space they have into condos. We need to do better. We need to start taking care of the people that are here, that built this community, that allowed you to walk around with the budget that you're walking around with now, that allowed you to go to Geneva. Forget this disposable income list. Clean your room before you try to change the world. And so no, I mean, again, we're at a disadvantage because we're not at City Hall. But from what I see, I'm there every Tuesday. What we see is market rate of, disposable income. What you're telling me is you want to push my people out. And that's why I started my opening statement with protecting the integrity and the history of the Acre. Because we can't keep doing that.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Cervantes. You get to answer the next question first. Do you believe the city is properly funding Lowell Public Schools, both in terms of cash contributions and also maintenance of effort?
But we know for a fact that we're not giving the percentage we're supposed to be giving from what we're getting from the state. We're passing the buck. Well, they got, $18 million from, extra from the state. So that means that we were already shorting them. Now we're going to short them even more. I mean, we're 13th lowest school system in the state. 13th lowest. And we're cutting more money. I mean, if I put my tinfoil hat on, I can say, so you cut $4 million from the school system, and then you spend $4 million on the Align building downtown, so your administration can move there. What are we doing? Education is a big thing for me. This is how what really kind of not forced my hand, but drove me to get into politics. Because kids are our future. I said it the other day, don't look at free community college as a handout. Look at it as an investment, especially in my district. We all know you have that piece of paper with that associate's degree, you're making more money than I have laying bricks, period, automatically. We need to get people out of that generational wealth gap and into actual having, some home ownership. But how are we going to accomplish that when we're 13th lowest? I mean, and this is the only place, as far as I'm concerned, where you can start school pre-K to bachelor's. I'm pretty sure master's, actually. Pre-K to master's. We're one of the only places in the country where you can do that. But we're going to cut our school system? We should be investing in our school system. So we don't have to hire people from Connecticut or anywhere else for these biotech companies filling the Hamilton Canal. Innovation, but employ the people here by investing in our education system.
Thank you, Mr. Liang.
$270 something annual budget for the school. It's not enough. I mean, I like to see more school being supported by the administration. I mean, you know, whether the different support financially or cash, they really do need it, especially speaking from somebody who's living in the Acre. This is why we are here. We want our kid to continue on. We want our kid to get a better education. We don't have to fight the system. We don't have to do what we're doing right now. We want to make sure that our kid get a good education. We know also that the high school is probably going to get more expensive and the deadline is going to continue. You know, as you already know, you know, it's going to be toward like December 2026 or probably longer. We don't know, but we want to make sure that the school is not getting sort of like the end of the stick, or maybe just to make sure it's balanced out. Make sure that we put our priorities on our kid. Safety, you know, education, you know, after school programs, good meals. And those are some of the things that really, really help kid grow and get a better education. We don't want our kid, you know, to grow up and then all of a sudden have to go find job other places. We want the job at City Hall. We want the job inside the city. Our kid can do that too. We can do that too. So that's why what we're doing right now.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. Next question. We'll start with you, Mr. Liang. How would you describe public safety in your neighborhood and in the city as a whole?
That's a big question. Public safety, it starts from the home. If you can't get out from your home, you're not safe. You can't bring to your kid to school, you're not safe. When you cannot buy a good food, a good meal, that's not safe. When you actually cannot sit outside, that's not safe. When you're driving on, let's say, cross street from one end to the next and it's getting bumpy from one corner to another, that's not safe. You know, around the school there, the kid can go to school and play out in the back without the adult have to actually watch over them. That's safety. A lot of the other things, too, is that involved inside the different public institution and places. You know, safety is really one of those major concerns. If you're not safe, you can't get a good job, you can't get a good education, you don't have a good money. So that's one of my top priorities that I have to look at, and it had to be deeper.
Okay. Mr. Cervantes.
So I grew up here. You know, when I first came to Lowell, we came from a little place out west called Inglewood, California. You know, I grew up here in the 90s, early 2000s. When it comes to safety, I don't think I've ever felt as safe walking these streets as in the whole time I've lived there. You know, safety is one of those things where there's always going to be more to do. It's just that's the fact. You know, somebody's going to feel unsafe. Somebody's going to feel some type of way. But, you know, we've been moving in the last 20 years, the last 10 years, we've been moving in the right direction. You know, we have to keep working on it. Right now, we're having a lot of problems are being highlighted with the unhoused, vagrants, whatever term floats your boat, you know? So I think that instead of being, the way we address safety is providing more mental health right now. And I mean, again, you said it before, you have history in the Acre. You know, I mean, I feel just as safe walking down those streets at 12 o'clock in the afternoon as I do at 12 o'clock at night. And sometimes I'm out there canvassing that late because people love listening to me talking. I love talking. But, you know, there's more. I mean, we're safer than Cambridge. Look at the statistics. Like, we're a big city, number 5. We just dropped down from 4. Number 5th biggest city in the state. We're up there in safety. We're up there in, you know, you go down the list. Especially when you compare those numbers to 20 years ago. You know, again, there's always going to be work to be done. That is one thing that you cannot turn your head from for a second, because we'll go back to it like this. But, you know, more light up the park next to my house doesn't have a light at night. You know, light up certain places. We have those mobile cameras. Let's start dropping those in more places. You know, let people know you do your part, we'll do ours. You know, the community engagement you've heard me talking about for months now, you know, but no, I mean, overall, I think we're from where we started 30, 3 years ago going to since I came here to now, I don't even recognize this place in a good way, you know?
All right. Thank you. You get to start first with the next question, Mr. Cervantes. Has the city done enough to create economic development and job opportunities for residents of your district, District 7? And what would you like to see, or what more would you like to see done in that area of job creation for your residents?
First instinct, I want to say no, because we are not really, like any available property that comes up, goes back to what I said earlier. It's either we're going to shove subsidized housing in there. 34% of the acre is subsidized housing, I believe. You can fact check me on that, but it's pretty high, all owned by one entity. When you have a district with a 32% poverty rating and you have an organization worth $32 million owning 34% of the property, when any time a piece of property goes up for sale, it's how many apartments can we build there? How much market rate can we build there? Well, why, if your medium income is $40,000, you're not necessarily driving around in a Mercedes-Benz to go out to Boston every day we're not pushing certain things like the free community college things, like to get people off of this hamster wheel. Like, let's put some more nice stores, nice locations, some of these historic buildings, some of these stores, instead of tearing them down and putting the market rate, let's put that, let's practice what we preach, and let's put that commercial space at the bottom. Let's give people, the convenience store that a kid can go and get a job at 14 years old, 15 years old. I used to go clean the bodega when I was 10 years old, and they'd give me like $10, and I was good. I was in heaven, but I less stress on my parents because I can go and buy the ice cream. We're not doing things like that. We're just shoving market rate housing down our throats. And that's why it goes back to the whole leadership thing. We need somebody in there that can say, no, let's put that somewhere else. Not in my district. Not no more. We've been overlooked for way too long. The buck stops here. So no, we're not doing enough for us.
Okay. Mr. Liang.
Let's start with economic development. I do agree that it's the administration is trying. I know they're doing this front runner thing. They're doing the Link project. So they're trying. But at the same time, does all these projects that they're looking at benefit the Acre resident or the District 7 resident? I don't think so. Have they gone into businesses and looking into improving them, educating them, provide them maybe more support? I like to see the Economic Development Office maybe looking into our neighborhood some more. I can even ask how many people or staff at City Hall eat at the local restaurant. And how many of the homes owner inside the Acre resident can improve beyond what they have right now. So I don't think so. As job opportunity, this is one of the things I want to change. I want to know how many people work at in our local city here, our local, meaning that are they from Lowell? Okay, at City Hall, how many of the people working in the City Hall are from Lowell? So I don't want my kid to grow up and walk, have to study hard at, UMass Lowell and whatnot and have to go find a job outside. So what are some of the things that we need to do to make sure that our Lowellians get the job they deserve inside our own city so that we can actually use our own taxes money, to benefit our own city and benefit our own neighborhoods?
Okay, thank you. Final question. I'm sure you're applauding that inside, but you mentioned Front Runner City. A lot has been made of that designation and the potential for billions of dollars of outside investment to come into the city of Lowell. If you were the king of Lowell, you got to make the decision. Give me one project that you would want to see done first with outside investment. Mr. Liang?
One project. Oh, boy.
You can mention more than one, but what would you do with that money? These investors' money, I should say. Right. What would you want them to invest in?
Well, we'll go back into communities safety, linking with the Lowell Police community and Lowell Police Department to make sure that all safe. Safety is probably from the inside. I came from the Bronx, New York. I can walk the neighborhood at night. But, if you feel safe at your own home, if you feel safe in your own neighborhood, it'll go beyond toward education, we go beyond toward healthy, eating, healthy living, and all other things as well. The other thing that I do have, doubt also, I know we're talking about front city and stuff like that, but I need to make sure that it's benefit the resident of the acre. We might bring in a lot of money in, but we don't want to be in the same thing. It goes to other places and not, toward the acre. And this is why I'm here. I want to make sure that the acre gets what it deserves. The acre will not be neglected.
Okay. Mr. Cervantes.
Very recent, I'll try to keep it brief. And you know me, I'll stay here all day and talk to you. I probably will when the cameras come off. I recently went to Richard Howe had a History of Lowell event on Wednesday night at the library. And one interesting fact that you see when you dig deep, Lowell wouldn't be Lowell without the acre. Because those canals, that being that transit way, then the Industrial Revolution started here. Let's be honest here, those $3 billion, and I can't stress this enough. How much of that money, other than you get the cool park, is going to go anywhere else other than our district? All that beautiful towers with all that housing, you know where it's going. Why don't we do something like, focus on creating more jobs for the people there? Maybe instead of one story of commercial, maybe we do two, and let's make the acre the historic place it is. Because every single Centerville, Belvedere, they begged to be a part of Lowell. And Lowell was the acre. But now it flows downhill and we're at the bottom of that hill. Why? Without us, there would be no Lowell. Without us, the people across the bridge that joined us from Draken, they didn't have a bathroom to go to. They didn't have running water, but we did. They stopped paying their taxes to get annexed by us. So why are we at the bottom of the barrel? Again, nice museum to highlight what we're doing here, to show that the acre, there would be no Lowell without the acre. And let's get people working. Let's elevate our people. And then you know what? You want to bring people in with disposable income and all that fun stuff? Cool. But let's make sure that our people are the people here with disposable income first.
All right, gentlemen, thank you. That concludes the question and answer portion of our forum. Time for your closing statements. Again, as we explained earlier, Mr. Cervantes read the opening statement first. So, Mr. Lang, you get to read the closing statement first.
Well, again, thank you, Teddy. Thank you, Jose, for talking, and thank you for giving ideas. And those folk out there, please go to learnforlow.com if you want to get more information about us. The thing that we're doing today is to basically give us a clear choice, maybe in a couple of days, to see who will be moving forward. And I hope it's me. And I thank you for those who opened the door for us. Everyone to feel, need to feel safe and need to be protected at their own home, neighborhoods, and within the city limit where we work, play, and live. This is what I wanted to do with community development and increase the capacity of the community so that the government and services need to be together. Another thing that I'm looking at also is public safety. We already mentioned public safety. I want to make sure we invest more money into it. We want to make sure connect with the community and police. Another thing that we probably didn't talk a lot about is the financial responsibility. I wanted to make sure every dollar that is taken from us being put and being transparent into the community that we serve. We're not going to be getting at the end of the stick. We need to make sure that we are we're not going to be at the lower end of the 11 districts. And I want to make sure I have the experience. I work in the community for a long time. I work with local, I work with state government, I work with all the community and stakeholders, and hopefully you'll vote for me and continue to work for you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Liang. Mr. Cervantes, your closing statement, sir.
All right. Well, I haven't done this. This is the first time that I'm going to ask you guys for your vote. Look at every interview, every door I've knocked, every single person I've talked to. And I refuse to, because all I want is for you to get out there and vote, because I'm not going anywhere. But if I get you to show up and say 2,000 people instead of 535 vote, now I feel like you're emboldening me to keep fighting for you, whether I get elected or not. But I'm going to take this opportunity to be selfish. And I'm going to ask you for your vote. I'm going to tell you how, for the past year, I've been at every single city council meeting, not for show, not to post pictures on Facebook, because I'm not going to apply for a job that I'm not ready to tackle. Period. That I've been talking, I've made so many friends, some enemies, but mainly friends in different places, whether it's at City Hall, whether it's nonprofits. I have been in the community. I have shown you what a leader looks like. There's not an event that I'm not there or I'm not marketing. There is not a cleanup that I am not involved in. If there is somewhere where I can get my hands dirty, they're getting dirty. And it's not about me, because, again, look at my Facebook. I don't post pictures of myself. Look at me. But they do, because they see me out there. It's not about me. It's about, look, I'm out here. Come out here with me. Community isn't a word we use on election time. I'm showing you what community means. And hopefully you join me, whether it's September 9th, November 4th, or the beginning of next year as a regular old civilian. It doesn't matter. Join me. Let's take our power back. And by that, I mean the city's the people. No matter who you are, no matter where you come from, whether you crawled under a fence at 2 years old and know what it means to go to bed hungry and have nothing. But when you showed up in a place like Lenox, Inglewood in California, look it up. There was a sense of community there. And if it wasn't for that community that we had when we got there, I don't think I'd be here, because I've lost so many family members living out there. I want to bring that here, where community, we stand united. And it starts September. Let's show them we increase community engagement. We increase civic engagement. We have our power back. We have our voices heard again. So please join me, not just in September, not just in November, but Saturday. Come to a cleanup with me. I'll be there. I haven't missed one. I'll post it on my page. Let's go.
All right. Thank you to both of you. Jose Cervantes, Sidney Liang, 2 of the 3 candidates vying for your vote on September 9th in District 7th, the preliminary election. We remind you that September 9th is Election Day. Also, mail-in ballots. The ballots have arrived at City Hall, so if you'd like to vote by mail, you can request your ballot and get it out there. We recommend you do that as quickly as possible. Holiday weekend coming up. Don't want to trust the post office, so you can do that. There's also an early voting period where you can show up and vote in person at the Lowell Senior Center in the heart of the Acre, as a matter of fact.
Heart of
I
Lowell.
want to thank both of you for being here today. Good luck to you these next couple of weeks. It's guaranteed that at least one of you, if not both of you, will. I'm going to drag you back in here for a November debate. If it's both of you, we'll do this all over again. I'll try to come up with some different questions. But thank you so much. Good luck to you both.
Thank you, Teddy.
All right. Thank you to both of the candidates, and thank you for tuning in as well. We're going to bring you a debate in each of the 3 districts that are having a preliminary election. Later on tonight, I'm going to record the debate featuring the District 3 Belvedere candidates, and we'll play that as the Friday Daily Pulse. And then next Tuesday, we'll meet the District 8 candidates, incumbent John Dakota, challengers Marcos Candido, and Francisco Maldonado. So keep it here with Inside Lowell. Follow us on the Daily Pulse. Follow us on the website, InsideLowell.com. We are your home for Lowell municipal election coverage, and it culminates with election night coverage live shows beginning at 7 p.m. on September 9th and at 7 p.m. on November 7th. Everybody, thank you for being here. Stay safe out there, stay cool out there, and we'll see you on the other side.